We're now joined by our friends from Hospice of South Texas, Jennifer Gray and Pastor Larry Green.
Thank you.
Welcome. Well, we're here to talk about a difficult topic, grief during the holidays. We touched on it, some of it earlier this season.
Yes.
Talking about grieving a family member, making that spot at the table, even though they may not be with us anymore. But there are different forms of loss other than death.
Yes, ma'am. A lot of times, people, first of all, it's the first for them. Because if your loved one died during like January or February, and now you get ready to come to your first Thanksgiving, first holiday, maybe first Easter without them. And so sometimes it's difficult to celebrate these things because you feel like you got nothing to celebrate it for. But we try to get people to know that even on these things, you can still find a place of joy because you can do a remembrance of that person, to cook things that they love, bake things that they love, and don't forget them, but include them in your holiday celebration. A lot of people don't want to celebrate at all because they feel sad, but I say we try to teach them to do this, to go out, smile, laugh, and everything, because it's only by the process of going through that you get your healing. As long as you're standing still, it doesn't help. So we said, as long as you're going through, you're going to be all right.
Mm-hmm. And it's important to do these emotional, to face your grief emotionally, but also physically. Making sure you're staying active.
Yes, we try to tell people if you don't deal with your grief will deal with you.
Yeah.
So you have to do things. We try to tell people not to lock themselves in the house, get out. Sometimes when people lose loved one, I always tell them go to Fredericksburg. Number one, I like Fredericksburg.
Go to Fredericksburg.
But what it does, it gets you on that drive for about 3 hours, and you get to look at things at a different view. I always say people got a point of view. God have allowed different viewing points. And so when you get outside of your zone and begin to see the nature, begin to see the clouds, it gives you a better feeling. It just makes it more relaxing and give you a chance to deal with your grief. Because it's like driving down by McDonald's, all of a sudden you start crying because your grief has come up. But people don't really understand. Allow yourself to cry, allow yourself to hurt, allow yourself to feel the pain.
Because you learn from the pain.
Yes, and also it relieves the tension. It's like the water in a dam. They have the release valve because it builds up all that pressure, and somehow you need an outlet. And crying is a good outlet, yelling's a good outlet. I say if you throw something, make sure it's plastic.
And recyclable maybe. Well, I know we're a coastal community here in the Crossroads, so I think it's like 40 minutes from Victoria to Magnolia Beach for that feeling of infinity, and it's a good humbling because it makes you remember that your problems are smaller than they seem.
Yeah. Jennifer is our new chaplain with Hospice of South Texas, and she used to be a CNA, now she's a chaplain. So she's been dealing with death on 2 different levels now as a CNA and now as a chaplain, helping the people more and everything.
Jennifer, how do you find yourself feeling after helping people get through these hard times?
It brings joy to me. That probably sounds contradictive, but to be able to be there, to be present with them and to help them spiritually and just comfort them through this time, it brings joy to me. And my joy that I have through God, the light that I have and the joy that I have, it brings to them joy as well, and it brings them comfort and peace.
It feels good to share that light inside of you with others and to light those inner candles, those wicks.
Yes.
Well, I can't wait to talk to y'all more about this important topic and how we can share with our viewers how to best cope with their losses this holiday season.
Yes, we would like to remind people that of all the hospices that are in Victoria, we probably are the only one that have over 1,000 book library that deals with, we got
lots of resources.
Lots of resources dealing with grief, dying, loss of a loved one, loss of a child, loss of a parent, and loss of friends.
Well, we're going to hear more about that right after this break.
Yes.
All right, we'll be right back. And now it's time for our viewer poll review. Earlier we asked, should Christian-based lessons be offered in public schools? 51% of you say yes, and 48% of you say no. We also asked, have you already started decorating for Christmas? 66% of you say no, and 31% of you say yes. Thank you for taking part in our viewer polls. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to keep taking part. And now we continue the conversation with our friends from Hospice of South Texas about grief during the holidays. All right, Pastor Green and Miss Jennifer Gray.
Yes.
So we're talking about the resources available at
Yes,
Hospice of South Texas to help us navigate through our grief.
See, because there are so many ways to grieve and so many, different points of view. And so you can't say my way is right or somebody else's way. You have to find out what's right for you.
Yes.
So we at Hospice of South Texas, we got about 1,000 book library. We got videos, we got books, we got pamphlets, we got some children books, death on the child, death on the grandparent.
Oh, wow.
But I was finding out not long ago that I might have to find something on divorce, because in one of my grief groups, somebody said to me, said to the class that I understand that y'all are hurting, but the loved one you had died and passed. I got a divorce, and I got to see that person every day around town or see them with somebody new. So it's like I'm dying daily. And I began to think of that divorce, loss of a pet, all of these things are grief, and all of them have to be dealt. We never can tell somebody, I know how you feel, or I've been through that, because everybody deals with grief differently, and there's no time frame on that.
Yes.
Well, the death of a relationship, of a marriage, it can be really hard because it's kind of like a loss of identity in a way.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. What we try to do is, I try not to say I know how you feel or I've been there before, but I ask people, can you talk about it? Because when you can talk about your grief, it allows for your pain to get out. Even if it's only for a moment, you get that smile and laugh. And really, grief is like a cut. When you lose somebody, you get cut. But one day, you'll look and that cut will become a scar. And somebody will say, where'd you get that scar? And you say, let me tell you about my husband. Or you'll be able to say, because the scar is a reminder of what was without the pain.
Defining a new characteristic.
Yes. And we are covering almost 14 counties.
Yeah, I think so.
From
14 counties?
From the Hollisville all the way up north where she covers. Yeah. And then I cover all the way down from Louise all the way to Karnes City. And she covers from what areas?
I-10 down to 77 and in
wow.
between.
And
Yes.
so,
A lot of beautiful country there.
Yes, yes.
and whenever
Very much
anybody
so.
has problems there, they call us and we actually go. Sometimes people are just struggling.
How many people
Yes.
do y'all have in your support groups on average?
Well, usually the support group, I'm glad you said that, because
Yeah.
every Tuesday we have grief groups at Hospice, about 10 o'clock every Tuesday.
Tuesday.
And sometimes we have one-on-one, and sometimes we have up to 5 or 6. And there's other areas within Victoria that have, some of the churches that have grief groups. I would invite everybody, if you're struggling with the loss of someone, don't hold it in. Talk to somebody.
Talk to somebody. And these grief groups are an excellent way to get your emotions out there, but without necessarily telling a friend of a friend of a friend.
Yes.
In that circle, you have a private way, a supportive way to work through it with other people.
Right. And even for us, even though we've been doing this for a long time, sometimes we have a day-old baby, a 3-day-old, weeks, month, and we might have to talk to each other. And so we try to get together on Fridays so we can work out any situations or things that are bothering us. And it's really good that I got a good partner now, Jennifer.
Yes.
With us on
we can
Hospice.
lean on each other.
I call her Chaplain Junior.
I'm going to call y'all angels on earth.
Well, we'll take that.
Yes.
Thank y'all so much for everything y'all do.
Thank you.
And I hope y'all have a happy holiday season.
Well, we will. And if anybody needs any help with their grief, all they have to do is give us a call at Hospice of South Texas. And if you don't mind, 361-572-4300.
No worries, Pastor.
Well, we appreciate it.
Yes.
All right. Well, that does it for today's show. Thank you so much for joining us. Be safe out there. And we'll see y'all next week.